Hello and welcome back to Doz's Television Workshop, where today we're going to fix the thing you wanted to see most in the recent poll I did on the community bit of YouTube. So I asked you if you'd like to see me fix a Bush TV12. 28% of you said you'd really like to see that. That dates from around about 1948, little 9-inch TV set. A Bush TV22, early 50s. 24% of you wanted to see me do that. Same looking set as the TV12, slightly different knobs, completely different chassis. The unknown alleged 405 line video camera, which is just down there somewhere, which wasn't very popular actually. That was only 7% of you wanted to see that, which is a bit of a shame because I'm quite keen to get on with that one. A Commodore SX64, 80s-ish. That's the Commodore 64 in a case with the built-in monitor and disk drive. Again, only 7% of you wanted to see that. And the winner was the Luxman Hi-Fi amplifier, which won by 34%. So thanks for voting. We had 29 votes, which for a little channel I don't think's bad really. So this is a Luxman SQ202 amplifier. I'm not really sure of the date. Luxman stuff is superb quality. They really are wonderful. The switches are just beautiful. But they are getting on a bit. So this comes from a friend of mine, Justin. He's actually sent me 2 Luxman amps in. And could I have a look at them for me, as well as some other stuff actually. Anyway, he says the 202 is the one that smoked when I disconnected the phono earth. Well, struggling to understand. This might be a coincidence, but the phono earth is that little single wire, generally with a spade connector on, that you can use as an auxiliary ground if your turntable is picking up hum. Sometimes, I have to say, it makes it worse. Sometimes it cures it completely. But yeah, he disconnected that. Smoke came out. It blew a speaker protection fuse. The left-hand channel, he thinks. I must apologise for not replacing it first. I may not have put them back in the right way around, so we just need to make sure we perhaps have a look at either of those. The auxiliary 2 lamp is dead. This is behind this black smoked part. There's couple of VU meters and the sort of indicator lamps in there. He'd like that replaced with an actual tungsten lamp. What's wrong with a warm white LED? You'll never know the difference. Anyway, that's okay. We can do that, I suspect. A tape monitor switch doesn't always latch. No, he's right, it doesn't. Is that replaceable? I doubt it. We may be able to fix that. They're normally a little wire hook that sort of follows its way around a track and they get gummed up. It's an important switch for me. Yeah, Justin's well into his magnetic tape. And it suffered in shipping to me. Can you rectify the dent next to one of the back legs? Well, we'll have a look at that. Now, that would be an amazing bonus. Another bonus would be leveling the right-hand switch PCB so the row of buttons aligns better. Oh yeah. These buttons here are slightly higher up. Don't know if you can see that on camera. I have to say though, the buttons, it's just lovely quality. It's a really beautiful amplifier. I bet it sounds great as well. So that's what we're dealing with. Let's get into it. Right, the Luxman 202. Let's just have a quick look around the front panel at what we've got. We've got switchable frequencies on our tone controls. They're in defeat at the moment. We've got concentrics for bass and treble, left and right. These are our selector switches: phono 1, phono 2, auxiliary 1, auxiliary 2, auxiliary 3, attenuate, written in capital letters. Low cut 30 Hz, 80 Hz, high cut 5 kHz, 9 kHz. Loudness button, the tape monitor button that we need to examine. Microphones, 2 microphone inputs and a level control, because it's Japanese. They do like a bit of a sing. We have got a sort of stereo selector switch down here. We've got mono left, mono right, left and right together, stereo and reverse. Speakers, main and remote, the power switch. Lovely concentric here. This reminds me of an Echo radio. So that's volume and then balance around the outside. 2 VU meters under there, and I think behind here we have all the lamps for the selector switches. It's in a reasonable condition, I suppose, for its age. Justin did say it had suffered in transit to him. It arrived to me in the back of a Volkswagen, hand delivered, so yeah, it's not suffered on its way to me. I have to say it's all a bit loose and horrible. The first thing I think, if it's had a bang in transit, we've got this odd symptom. I can't think why disconnecting a phono earth would cause smoke to come out and speaker things to fail, but I'm sort of surmising that if you were using a power conditioner, you might have a problem with that. So let's just take this top cover off and just see if we can see any damage first. Let's put a bit more light on the subject. There we go. Yeah, these screws aren't particularly tight. Perhaps Justin's been in there. He did say the speaker protection fuse failed. Are they available on the outside? Oh, they are. So, yeah, he's probably just been changing those, perhaps. I don't know whether he's had a look inside or what. So, we'll just get it in bits and see what we can see. Screws out the top cover, I think. It's only 4, so there we go. Oh, it's maybe a bit older than I thought. Hello. Right, first things I can spot straight away. So these are our output modules here. You can see we've got a different capacitors in each. In fact, very many. Somebody's had thrown a bit of what they had available at the time in there. And I don't like what I'm seeing down here at all. With this selector PCB, I'm going to zoom in. Go on, focus. That'll do. Can you see here? Little wisps of solder or wire or something. In fact, that's why that board isn't level. It's been a bit got at, hasn't it, I think? I wonder if somebody had a go at recapping this a number of years ago and sort of gave up, because it's not a pleasant thing to work on. That's the problem with Luxman. Some of them are reasonably easy, some of them aren't. We've done them on the channel before, and certainly if you've been following me back since the website days, there were a couple in there as well. One of them I thought it was a Gold Star originally. I'd not seen one before, but yeah, there was some research and it turns out it was a Luxman, and it was a wonderful amplifier. Yep, we've got tungsten lamps, as Justin said. These are worrying. Look, they've got that hot. They've scorched the back of the meters and discoloured them. Right, what have we got as an output pair? 2SD218 and 2SA649. And in the other side we've got something different with numbers missing. But I've seen that on Luxman before that have never been got at, where the two output pairs are actually different transistors. I do, however, think that something's going on in here. This has seen a life, hasn't it? Again, we've got an RS capacitor down there. We've got a couple of EPCOS ones. Yeah, this has had a life, hasn't it? Right. Okay. So the left-hand channel, he said, was faulty, he thinks. So I think that's where I'm going to start, is by just removing the left-hand module here. And you can't see that. Let me zoom out. My bad. There we go. So the two modules, right hand, left hand. They're attached by 4 screws, and the heatsink will just pull the whole lot out. Yeah. It has had a life, hasn't it? The capacitor's all green and horrible. Yeah. Okie dokie. So, and the other thing is, I don't think that's not right. Look, this PCB is all just flopping around. That one's nice and rigid. This one isn't. Oh, I tell you why. It's come out of its mounting slot. What has gone on here? Has somebody got it apart and then made a mess of something? Yeah, right. Well, it's no good like it is it? So let's just have a look at those output fuses before we go. Now, Justin did say he thought he might not have put them back in the right slots. And I don't want to go attempting to blow my workshop speakers up. So let's just have a little look at the left-hand one. Smoke came out, never a good thing. Well, that's been hot. Has it gone open? Bring in the multimeter. Yep, it's open. Okay. So that's going to be my first port of call, is to pull the left-hand power module out. So 4 screws on the heatsink here. Level controls on the back. And an impedance for the phono stage. They were beautifully well spec'd. These screws have all been chewed up. Right, easy as that, look. What let the smoke out? Yeah, you can see somebody's made an attempt to recap this. The original caps. Zoom in again. There we go. See, the original caps were glued in place, and the glue is left on the board, but it's not on the caps. Can't see anything that let the smoke out yet. This transistor doesn't even have any numbers on it, look. You can't quite see. Move out of it. That transistor there has no numbering on it at all. The other one's an MJI 15024. What let the smoke out? Now some of the capacitors on this board are original. They've still got the glue on them, I think. I don't know. I'm not quite so sure. Right. Can't see anything that would have let the smoke out. Let us just, whoops, go into diode mode and have a look at this output pair and see if they're any good or not. Oh dear. Which transistor is that? Is that no mark one? No, it isn't. Ah, that's where the smoke came out. That resistor there is burned up. And the one next to it, by the look of it as well. That is an X transistor. That used to be. Right. I think the next thing to do is to go and see if we can find a schematic. Okay, full disclosure on this one. That scene you've just watched, I filmed on the 4th of November 2023. As of the time of filming, it is now the 9th of April 2024. for the simple reason I could not find stock from a reputable supplier of suitable output transistors. They did arrive a couple of weeks ago from Mouser, and we have got an MJ21193G, which is our PNP part, and an MJ21194G as our NPN part. I've ordered a few of each because they were just taking for ages to get here. So yeah, at one stage it was looking like there was going to be a 12-month lead time. Finding a match, you know, a decent pair was difficult. It wasn't easy, but we've got there in the end, and thankfully these things are still being made. Once again, I'm sure in the comments people are going to say, oh, I can get them on AliExpress. You work away. I want to be doing this job. I want to be doing this job properly, and I want to be doing this job once. So yeah, that's why I don't buy parts on AliExpress and other places. If it's for something like this, little modules for projects and stuff, fair enough, but not stuff, because there are so many fakes out there. Even the humble 2N3055, they're just fakes everywhere, and it makes your life difficult. But there we go, proper transistors, reputable supplier. Let me refresh my memory and see where we were at. Yeah. Right, I've extracted the at least one of the defective amplifiers. I'm not quite sure whether both of them are duff or not. This is the one with the no mark transistor in, that's got all the burn up, etc. on it. Now, I couldn't find a diagram for the SQ202, but I have found one for an SQ507, and just looking at it quickly, it's got all the same transistors in it. I suspect it's of a very similar design. If not, we shall have to rethink that, but just for now I think that will do. If you look on this camera, by the way, you'll notice this foot's at a rather jaunty angle. This has had a bang at some stage in its life, and I wonder if that's why all the switchgear is slightly misaligned on the front. So we'll take that apart and have a little straighten out of that later on. But for now, I need to get this transistor out. Well, the transistors will just drop out. So we'll just undo those. Now that is an MJ15024, which originally it wouldn't have had. What was originally in that position? So let me just organise this around the right way. That's 218 and a 649. So that would originally be a 218. Just going to write on there 218 and 649. Despite the fact that that's not what's going to be going back in, because you can't get these anymore. What it will do, it'll indicate to me which one is the NPN and which one is the PNP without having to think about it too much. Right. So, as we know, this output pair is short, or at least one of them is. So what I'm going to do, let's just unplug that from there. All the therm paths absolutely dried out on them. Yeah, this has seen a bit of action. Let me zoom in a bit. Reposition. It's definitely seen a bit of action in its time. Like I say, somebody's had a pop at changing those capacitors. And they've also had the driver transistors out by the look of it as well. So, yeah. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to mark the transistor up so I know which way in it goes. I'm just going to fetch it out, put it on the DCA, and make sure it's all right. So, I want a digital component analyzer. Pop that on it, it'll tell us whether it's still a transistor. So these should be NPN. It's an NPN transistor. Looks good to me. Well, that's good news. Pop that one back in and remove the other for test. Oops. It is an NPN transistor, about the same current gain. Yeah, right, well that's all good. Also got these two fellas here, haven't we? I might try and test those in circuit. We might be lucky. Analysing common anode diode network. Nah, it isn't. I wouldn't have thought so. 2SC 1587. Yeah, you see I've got nothing like that on my diagram I've been looking at. I think we may have to find another diagram. Right, I'm just going to mark the two end, just the one end actually on here. And again the one end on the board, because there's no legend on this board at all. NPN silicon transistor, so it is fine. Jolly good. I shall put it back in. You can sort of see the pattern on the legs on that transistor. I think that board was designed to have something else in there. Whether that's been changed after the event, who knows? And that one's its PNP best mate. And all is well. Yeah. All is good. Okay. Let's pop this back together. Actually, there are two different transistors shown in there. Say 696. This stage may be similar enough to the schematic I've got. I'll put the schematic on the screen. Some of the parts are looking a little bit different. Unfortunately, I've got a board layout, which is very disappointing because I'm going to need to know what those two resistors are that have burned up. But thankfully, of course, I do have the other module. And let's hope that's got less damage on it, so I can just compare and contrast. So while I put this in, I'll pull that other one out and we'll make a comparison. Proof as if we needed it that our output transistor is duff. Short between red and green. We'd sort of ascertained that anyway. Just have a look at this one. So I suspect we've got away with just damage being done to the output pair. See if this one's alright. This is the one without the markings on it, funnily enough. Analysing diode or diode junctions. No, it isn't. Yeah, that one's blown open, that one's blown short. Typical. Right, let's pull that other amplifier module out. I'll remove the other module from the amplifier. And we can see these burned up resistors. Let me get something to point with. There's a screwdriver. This one here is this one here. This measures 100 ohms. It's brown, black, brown. That one is the same. Note these two are, you know, they've been changed previously. That is 470k there. That's yellow, purple, orange. I'm thinking that might be all right, actually. It looks a little scorched and burnt, but I think that's probably where this one has let go. This one here is also 100 ohms, and it's all in this bias circuit, I think. So I'm going to question this replacement pot that somebody's put in there. Now, if we compare the two amplifier chassis. We can see somebody's put these great big disc caps in here, or maybe these have been changed and these are original. Who knows? We've got 2 new tantalums in there. We've got 2 very old tants in there. They'll be coming out and getting changed. Other things, that resistor there, which is that one there, has also been changed, as has the one down the side of the driver there. Now, I'm not sure what's original and what isn't at this point. This amplifier looks to be in a lot better condition and is in fact still working. This one has failed. So, yeah, I'm going to get those tants out of there. Now, all these electrolytics are, you know, they're all recents, but they're all a bit different, aren't they? Will that make a difference? I'd like them matched, really. However, I will point out that I'm about to put new transistors in this one and probably not in this one. And you're going to say, oh, it'll sound different, Doz. Well, probably not. In fact, immeasurably not. And the reason being is negative feedback. Transistor amplifiers rely on negative feedback to get anything approaching linearity. So the fact that the transistors may be a little different doesn't really make any odds. And to prove the point, the first ever Luxman amplifier I did, which is written up on the website at andydoz.blogspot.com, if you go and look on there, out from the factory, one amplifier module had a different set of transistors in from the next. And yet that amplifier had never been looked at before. So that's how it had left the factory. So it don't make a fat lot of difference. But capacitors, especially if they're in the signal path, yeah, possibly. And you see this, it's got some film caps in here. This one hasn't. I'm just wondering if this is a bit of a bits of this amplifier. And yeah, anyway, I think what I'm going to do, first off, we need to get these burned out resistors out and have a look at those and compare those 2 down there with those 2 on that driver there and see what we're looking at. So, right, it's on with the desoldering gun. Right, let's move that one out of the way for a minute, get these burned up components out of here. Look at the workmanship as well. It's that lead's just been folded over on the board. Can you see how long that is? Sticking out there, look. Not of a high quality, was it really? Did the chap not have cutters? Yeah, this is really poor. It's not exactly like the print's lifted and he's used the leg to help repair the track. It's just joddy. The length of it. Madness. Now let's just measure that 470k next to it, because I'm suspecting he might actually be okay. Maybe not. Let me just confirm on the other module. He's against something, isn't he? Let's just lift one leg, get it out and measure it properly. Time this has taken, I could have probably changed it by now, couldn't I? Did I say 470k? I did mean 47k, didn't I? Who spotted the silly mistake? Yeah, as I thought, he's absolutely bob on. So you can go back down, I think. Right, and we've got those 2 over there. Let's see what they measure like on the good amplifier. There's some goo on this one I don't particularly like, but there we are. What have we got? 4.2k, and I reckon it's 6.8. Has it got something across it? Yeah, okay. It's another resistor we're going to have to upend in a minute. But let's remove that other burned up one first. Oh, and it's right underneath the transistor. I think I'll get on it one end with a soldering gun. I might have to pull it out with the iron on the other end. There we go. If you look at the board, you can see where the board has been scorched there by the failing parts. That one, not so much, but there we go. Right. Yeah, emitter resistors. How much current, I wonder, went through those? What are they? That'd be quite a small value. 0.33. As long as they are not open, we probably won't get a sensible reading of resistance. Yeah, nothing. Nothing. That few ohm or so is probably in the leads and the probe. Not sure I'm very happy about the wiring either. It looks like it's all been sort of got out a bit. Right. So at the moment I need 3 1k resistors. Right, I shall reach up into my box. Sorry, 100 ohms. 100 ohms, not 1k. I've got a decimal place problem today, haven't I? In that case, then I bought the wrong box. Cool. Sydney Devine's gone for a ball of chalk. 100 ohms, something sensibly sized. What have I got? There we are, those are nice. We'll have some of those. These are sort of precision things as well. Right. Put that down there for a moment. Not the easiest one to do that. It's right underneath a transistor socket. But there we go. That's those 3 dealt with. Now I need to take those out. Oh, look at what's going on over here as well. 221. Yeah, well, they're the right value ceramic discs. I mean, they never fail. Surely. But, I don't know what these are. 0.022s. I mean, they're so unlikely to fail. It's not like a Hunts or something, you know. Technology had moved on. But if I've got those, I think I'm going to swap them out for films, because films are, you know, markedly better than what was available. So these might be films, I don't know. But being as though it's had it changed, I'm tempted to do that. Those 2 resistors down there, I need to take that amplifier apart to do, really. So I think, first things first, let's get those tanks swapped out. Turns out I didn't have the right capacitors in stock, but I have now. Right, that was easy. The next thing I want to do is actually just change these pots out. They're already a bit of a mismatch and I don't like them, so therefore we want a 4.7k there. And I wonder what this was on the original. 330 ohms. So that's 4.7k, and this one is allegedly 330 ohms. Let's just measure that and prove it. Yeah, I did wonder. Let's just see if I can see any writing on it. It's definitely an odd one. Yeah, you see somebody swapped that out for a 100 ohm pot, and yet the original was 330. Right, so I'm just going to swap out the bias and zero pots for some of these little multi-turn types. So yeah, that'll allow us a little bit more accuracy. I found out when I did the last Luxman it was a little bit finicky, especially on the bias. So hopefully that'll make our lives a little bit better. Right, so that is 4.7k. I don't have 4.7k, but I have 5, and that's perfectly good enough. So there we go. I've put those 2 pots in there. That'll make our lives a lot easier. And yeah. These film caps, by the way, all they do is decouple the supplies. They're just not going to have failed. I don't know why somebody changed those, but I think somebody did go on a recapping spree, didn't they? Anyway, yeah, let's get that module back together and then look at setting the bias, and then we'll come back to this one and just change those pots, I think, and we'll be ready to go. Should I do that first? Let's get this one back together first anyway. Right, well, I'll be quite honest with you. I went to bed last night and I got up this morning and I thought I can't leave the 2 boards being so different. So I've just completed this board. As you can see, I have renewed all the electrolytic capacitors. Here's our rake of baddies so far. So I've changed all the electrolytics, and I'm glad I did, because I was comparing it to this other board and the 2 differ dramatically, not in layout or anything like that. Oh no, different values shoehorned into places, which is why all the caps were different sizes. So I'm going to go through. This one is now as per the schematic. I'm going to have to go through this one. I'm going to change them all anyway, just so they're the same brand. We don't want any differences, so I'm going to do that to the other board anyway. So yeah, that one, by the way, was a right pain to get to because I had to remove the transistor holder, which was, yeah, a right pain in the bottom. But there we go. So it's all looking back up together again now. And yeah, I put 3 film caps in there as well. I don't think it'll make the blindest bit of difference, but the other ones like it, and I want to keep them much the same as possible. There's a lot of horrible flux on here, so I'm just going to start cleaning that off, I think. Right, let's put that over there to sort of evaporate, and we'll clean up these mica washers while I'm here. I should just drop them in there. That should soften off any remaining therm path. It occurred to me the other day that the phrase therm path might not be recognised. That's the ordinary white thermal paste, thermal sort of grease you see on stuff. I still call it Thermpath. I think Thermpath was actually a brand name back in the day. I'm not sure whether you can still get it, in fact. But yeah, I'll tell you what, that one has got a crack in it. I think we best have some new ones. And that one is no better. I'm going to junk those off. Let's fit some new ones. Either which way, I need to clean the grease off these heat sinks here. Right, I need to go in search of insulators. Right, I don't have any. What I do, however, have are these vintage RS BU105 transistor kits with mounting kit, made in Japan. Yeah, this is going back to my telly days, really. So we will find in here BU105. What was that? BU108 was G8. BU105 was that GCC2110, etc. I'm sure somebody out there will remember. Anyway, we've got these. So let's try and extract it from the box. We've got new insulators. I'm not interested in the insulators. All I'm interested in is the mica. It's been in there that long, it's sort of stuck, I think. Let's stab the foam and see if I can grip it. Here it comes. There we go. BU105, look, made in 1972. Proper thick base ones as well. Look at that. I should put that back in there, and I shall replace the mica washer when the new ones arrive. But as you can see, that's a much beefier type of mica, and there's no cracks or anything in it, so that's just wonderful. I shall put that back in there, because one day, you never know, I might need a BU105. I've got a box of them. God knows where they came from. I wouldn't have bought these. I was just a wee nipper when these were made. There's another one, look. BU105, that one's 1973. I think if memory served, in the GC, you used to have two of them before the sort of BU208 came along. There we go. You can pop back in there, my friend. And I shall furnish you with a new washer as and when they arrive. Right. It's Gungy Nasty Thermpath time, which means I think I may don a glove. That's that, and then we need to field in our new transistors, which I have got at great expense here. This is, we'll find out in a second, won't we? Let's zoom out a bit. There we go. This is our MJ21193. Now let me just, that is the PNP side. So let's just turn that over, which I think is the 2SA649, isn't it? Let me just confirm with the datasheet. 2SA649. 2SA649 is the PNP. So we can safely fit one of those in there. And this therefore is the NPN. Bonus bit of packing material. And this is an MJ21194. The other one is a 21193. And these should work very well indeed. Bit more rated than the old ones. So we shouldn't have many, if any, problems. There we go. I've just got to line the board up on the rear and click it down into place. I'm just going to clean those pins off on the transistor legs because they picked up a bit of therm path because I gunged it everywhere on the way through. I've still managed to get it on me. Right, it's that way round. It should go snugly in there. Are both sockets sitting flush? They are. Just need to make sure the back of the socket in there is flush up against the heatsink. And we can simply pop the screws in. There are no insulators on the screws, by the way, because they make the connection from the collector back to the board. If you were bolting this directly to a heatsink, you'd need an insulator in there. Many manufacturers did that. But not this lot. They're just relying on that transistor holder. Yep, that looks all good. Right, a little bit of clean up of some of that mess, I think. And then we shall move on and sort of repeat the process with this module, just the passives, these electrolytic capacitors, because some of them are wrong, and those two pots, and then we can put them both back in. We'll do one at a time and adjust them up. That's if nothing else needs doing in the actual main chassis. And I think there's another couple of odd electrolytics in there as well that I may wish to evict and swap over for something else. Just clean this up anyway. Right, well, you know I said I had loads of those BU105s with the kits in for the washers. I had another 3, 2 of which didn't have washers in, and I need another 2 because those are damaged on that other module. So I put that module to one side for a minute, and I've just started to take the bottom off here. Screws threaded out, stripped out. This is so badly buckled and bent at the bottom here that I can't get that final screw out. And I was just investigating on how the foot was going to come undone, so I can attempt to get that out. But I've just peered inside and I don't like what I see for a change. Yeah, so I'm going to just see if we can get that foot off and then get that final screw out. You can see it's all buckled up. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't see that being the original screw either. And it's been chewed up. I've got a sneaking suspicion this amplifier may be a bit of a bitzer, you know. Anyway, we've got this mess to deal with here, so yeah, that's been chewed up, so oh, it's coming. Good. And then we've got this delight inside. And look at these 3 capacitors here. I noticed from the other side, if I can find a shot of that from the other camera, you can see there are 3 different, these 2 are Epcos 12,000 microfarads. This is one 1983 vintage RS 10,000, which looks to have been in there for some time. We've got bits of stuff wedged in to make it work, where it's sort of distorted the chassis. It's distorted over here, it's distorted here. That's why none of that switch gear is going to be working properly. Happy days. The electrolytic capacitors look along the switch panels. I will check those out. I will be changing the ones in the power supply, the secondary LT power supply, because I've known those to give problems before. We should have 47 mic. Yeah, 47 mic at 100 volts. Just down in there, you can't really see that. And there's some 2200s, which I think are 63 volts. We'll have those. But these, I mean, they're an unknown quantity. And they're expensive. So, yeah, let's get those ordered up and on their way. Oh, this chassis bent here as well. No wonder it's all a bit struggling to line up and work. And here. It's had a life, hasn't it? Right, let's order some bits and come back when they turn up. It's Future Editing Doz here. This video's gone on for far too long already, so pop back next week when the parts will arrive. We get the thing back together and hopefully it turns out all right. Until then, click like, subscribe, do all that rubbish, and I'll see you really soon here on Doz's Television Workshop. Cheers now, bye. Right, I can see Start again. Right, we can, I've removed, start it yet again. For the benefit of the camera, we're on Tascam 90. Well, it's future editing DOS here. This video's gone on for far too long already. So while we wait for those bits, do it again because that's rubbish.